2 videos in a week. Aren't I treating you? Yes, I fancy doing another video. And also, on top of it, I want to talk about a topic really. It's a discussion video more than anything. Of something which I don't even have the answer for yet. I've been racking it around in my brain for a few weeks and I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer, but I thought I would just start a discussion, and more than anything I just want to see what everyone's opinions is in the comments. But before I jump into things, first of all, I'm on a new camera, so it might be trying to autofocus. I don't know how good it is. I've only had it for today and I haven't even had to play with it yet, and I've got to go through all the settings, so it might be awful. I don't know. I need to have a play with this camera. The main reason for having a new camera is this baby was what I have been filming on, the Canon, what is it, the 650D. Lovely piece of kit. The only trouble is it's a big piece of kit, and when it comes down to that, we're having a kid soon, I'm going to be taking lots of photos, but at the same time Jo will be taking photos and she can't get her head around this, especially when it comes down to filming and doing all the actual manual stuff, and the autofocus on that isn't too great. It does the job, but by God, you can hear these servos going all the time when you're doing it. So I decided to sell that camera onto another Canon, because I swear by Canons. This is the G7X, and so far I'm quite impressed by it, but it's mainly because it does a lot of features which you don't expect for a small camera to do, and at the same time it works, so we can put it in a pocket and take it out with us and just point and click. So sadly I'm going to give up on the big camera, but I may return to it one day when I can afford to have more than one camera. But the other good thing is, drinking beers on camera is back, mainly because I've just saw an advert for Guinness's new Golden Ale. So instead of the normal typical black Guinness, we've got Golden Ale. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, I need to try that. So I've run off to Tesco, picked it up, haven't tried it yet, so we'll give it a whirl. That's gone, I'll stamp on that in a minute. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, I swallowed that completely wrong then, that actually hurt me. That's lovely stuff. So then, what I wanted to talk about was endings of games. I've spoke to a friend about this, and we've had a bit of a debate, and I can't work out if I'm right or wrong, or if there is a right answer. And what it is when you play big games and you get alternative endings. And the main thing is that a right or wrong thing to do? Now, first of all, a lot of people would be like, yes, you want alternative endings, they're great. But just hear me out. So the first thing I want to bring up then is Mass Effect 3. So for anybody who doesn't know, obviously Mass Effect 1 and 2, you could influence the games, and it influenced number 3. And everything was good because you could do lots of different decisions, and I could talk to a friend and say, I did this, what happened to you? And I'm like, well, I killed that person, so they didn't do this. And it was very cool to see how the tree and it all arced out. And it is awesome when games do that. But the problem is, at the end of Mass Effect 3, I played it, and the ending happened, and I was like, oh, I enjoyed that, that was quite good. Then I went on the internet and then realised everybody had got the same ending, apart from they kind of just changed the colours and just slightly tweaked it, but everyone's ending was pretty much the same. And everybody was pissed off by it, because it meant that what they did over the past several games, so you're talking potentially 300 hours worth of gaming, and the end result was everybody to have a very similar ending, and it left a sour taste in everyone's mouth. It left one in my mouth after I knew that, and I kind of always went Mass Effect 3 endings bad. Now, moving on to a game such as The Witcher. Now, again, The Witcher, you can play the game, and during that path, different things will happen. So again, when I speak to friends, say, did you do this? And I'm like, well, I can't, because I sent Triss Merigold off, and therefore she's not in my game at the moment. So it's quite cool to see how people's games evolve, because they've done different decisions. But again, when it comes to the ending, and I'm not going to say the endings, because obviously many people may have not done it. But let's just say there is a neutral and a potential bad ending. There's, well, 3 as such, but there is tweaks here and there, so you could go off and say there's actually 37 different endings. But anyway, let's just talk about the neutral and potentially bad ending. So I, luckily enough, got the neutral ending. But the thing is, to shape an ending of a game, you obviously have to have decisions in the game that you'll pick, and that will then determine what the ending's going to be. And the problem is with a game like The Witcher is it isn't black and white. Now, when you play games like Fallout, at some points they'll go, right, which armor do you want to side with, that one, or do you want to go with the robots? I think it vaguely was that years ago since I played it. But anyway, some games make it clear as day, and I quite enjoy it when they do that, because you can see which path you're about to enter. And it's kind of cool when sometimes you don't control them, where something happens like, oh god, that happened now because you selected these different things. But the thing is, when it comes down to The Witcher 3's ending, it was very hard to try and steer yourself on the correct path, because Ciri's, I think there was 5 things in the game that you had to do, and if you did majority of them correct, you got the good ending. And obviously with me and 5, that means you had to get 3 correct. Now one of my friends got 2 correct, and I think that means he got the bad ending. So either way, if it was easy to actually spot these arcs as such in the game, it wouldn't be so bad. But it is a very grey area in The Witcher. Now, I will say this is slightly spoilerish. I'm not going to tell you anything particular what's going to happen in the story, but if you don't want anything spoiled, just pause for a second. So at one point in the story, Ciri kind of has a bit of a meltdown, and she pretty much nearly explodes and nearly kills everybody. And after she calms herself down and she goes, oh, I can't believe I nearly killed everybody. So the problem is, she has this power that she needs to learn control, and obviously when she gets angry, it kind of just blows up. So pretty much 2 hours later into the story, you are in a scenario where you get the option to let her smash something up. Now, she's doing it out of anger, and your option is to say, yes, smash that shit up, or no, don't smash it up. Now, obviously, Geralt is like a father figure to her, and as a father role, and also of somebody that kind of just seen what she did 2 hours ago, the same person would say, don't smash it up, because we want you to control your anger, so don't just go batshit. But that would be the wrong option. That would lead you down the path to the bad end in The Witcher. What you should do is say, smash that place up, because then you're supporting her, and she's learning that she can do things herself. She doesn't need Geralt to hold her hand. So it's a very grey area to actually determine what you need to do in that scenario. So with that, this brings me to what I'm trying to get around to. When you invest, potentially, with The Witcher, I think it's about 170 hours are spent on the game. When you invest 170 hours into a game, and then right at the end, it gives you the shit ending, it pisses me off, and then it also makes me think, why? Why do we need alternative endings? Now, I like the idea of different things happen in the game, so when you're playing them, as I said, you go, well, I'll kill him and I will spare her, so therefore your path is different to theirs. So it's always good to have slightly different games, especially for replay value. But at the end of the day, you always want the good ending. So why put in potential bad ones? Now, the other thing as well that kind of reinforces this was when I was playing The Witcher, I actually got the guide. Now, I never ever use game guides, but I got the Witcher guide because I was trying to collect everything. And during one point, I kind of just skimmed through because I had a glitch, I think it was, in one of the missions. So I skimmed through and had a look, and while I was looking, there was a picture of a tiny little swallow saying a Ciri mission. I was like, what the fuck is a Ciri mission? So I read into it and realised there's 5 potential options. And I could also see that I had just done one of those options, and I also did it incorrectly. So the first thing I did was like, well, it's only about 20 minutes back, so I shall load up a previous save game, I shall change my selection and continue the game. So I manipulated that game to make sure I got the best outcome. And a lot of people would, if it's right at the end of the decision and you pick it wrong, and you can go back 10 minutes, you go back and pick the correct one because you want the good ending. So why give us bad ones? And the other reason I bring this up as well is, for sometimes I tend to pick the wrong options quite a lot of the time. So for instance, I think it was in Catherine, I got the worst ending possible. So within Catherine, you have Catherine, and you can try and get with both of them. There's several different endings. My ending was I got with none of them, and I got run over by a pizza van, I think it was, game end. When it came down to Heavy Rain, everybody died, and I never got to find out who the murderer was. And there was another one, I was explaining to Joe earlier and I forgot it already. So a lot of times I've invested into a game to only get the shit ending, which pisses me right off. And after thinking about this, it's kind of made me realise that Mass Effect 3 ending wasn't that bad at all. During the actual 300 hours of playing these 3 games, we've got to shape our path. So therefore we've got great replay value because we can do these missions slightly differently on a second playthrough. And at the same time, we've got good content to talk to our friends about, because I do enjoy when a game has different options to be able to say to my friend, which one did you pick? Did you? Really? That's interesting because I picked this. And it's great to do it. But just don't give us the endings which are shit endings. Just let us do all our paths and just bring us to a very similar or the same ending at the end. Now, a lot of people will be like, no, that goes against what gaming should be. It should be lots of choice and we should be able to get these bad endings. But thinking about it, I don't think I really need the bad endings. I'd be quite happy if games started giving us the same ending every time. And if I would have watched this video and see those words come out of my mouth 2-3 years ago, I'd go, you're on crack, son. But I generally do think I wouldn't be upset if everybody got the same ending. Now, in your head it pisses you off because you kind of go, well, that's a cheat. You should put several endings in. But no, if you invest that time into a game, you blatantly care for those characters. You want the best for those characters. So you want the best ending. So just fucking give us the best ending. It really is good stuff. So I've been toying with this for, like I say, a week or two, thinking, is that the correct way? And I really don't know. I think I'm leaning more towards, yes, endings should kind of be the same because you want the best. Fair enough, some games can't do it because you may go down a path which means that army will win, or then people died so there wasn't there at the end, and it's a grey area and it's quite hard to like nail down. But I kind of want people's opinions to, first of all, like, have you ever played a game and put a stupid amount of time into it to only find out you got the shit ending? And also, would you mind if your games was open with multiple choices but all came back to a very similar or same end at the end of the game? So that's pretty much it. I'm going to leave it there, and I'm looking forward to what your actual comments are, because I've spoke to my friend about it a few times and we've kind of just spitballed the idea, and we're like, I don't know where I lie, I don't know what to think of this opinion, but I wanted to get it out there and just see what you lot think. So that's me done and dusted. I'm going to watch this video back now and actually see what the quality of the video is. God, I am shiny. So as always, thank you very much for watching, guys. Cheers, bye.